Should we do some warm-up exercises? Yummy!
Hello everyone.
Guten Abend.
Hello. Welcome back to Le Channel. Chanel! Thank you again for all your fantastic support and love.
It's been great. And we're nearly 1,000 subscribers, which is exciting. And maybe we'll do like a little special little short vid or something when we get that far. Because that's exciting.
Little behind the scenes.
No one wants to see that. So as promised, today we are doing Love Victor. If you haven't watched it, it's a good one. It's quite a laid back one. Quite good fun.
It's an easy watch.
Yeah. It's in the same universe as Love, Simon. So it's like a TV spin-off and...
The same universe.
It is. It's the Marvel universe. I think this one does everything that we wish Love, Simon had done.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on this one.
In a nutshell.
I think it's... Yeah, exactly how you said. It's kind of what I wanted to see from Love, Simon. And I think it works because it's dragged out over a series of episodes.
They really drag it out.
No, yes. But like, you know, it's like a build. It's more of like a slow build.
If you haven't already, consider subscribing. You don't have to. In fact, you probably should. No, you should. No, why not?
Don't tell them. Please. Oh yeah, we've kind of like revamped the channel.
Yeah, there's a little like rainbow heart in the bottom right corner. If at any point you think, oh, I'm actually enjoying this, click on that.
I'm actually enjoying this.
Subscribe and give it a like. If you're not enjoying it, go away.
Yes.
Leave us.
You know who you are.
Without further ado, let's
love Victor.
Is there any water going in his mouth there?
Well, it was really nice meeting you, Victor. Benji. Also, he's gay. Just so you know.
I quite like that scene because, you know, like all those 90s teen movies, and like we've all grown up with them. Not even just like the teen ones, like all the kind of like classic 90s like girl and guy movies. There's always a scene that's like that, but it's like heterosexual people noticing each other. And there's always a scene that's like a girl walks down the hall and a guy is like,
slow
oh,
motion.
yeah, or like a guy walks down the hall and a girl's like, and it's just really fresh and nice to see like the same kind of harmless, fun scene from a queer perspective of a guy going to another guy, and like, yeah, it's just kind of nice.
Also, hang on, just one more thing on that. There is no way that Benji would not get like gay vibes from that conversation.
He'd be like, hello.
Literally. Like his eyes
Immediately
are
be
glazed
like,
over.
oh, so you like men? Okay, cool.
Literally. And that was episode 1.
Just look at me. Wait, what's happening?
Homophobia isn't like that, I don't think. Yeah, it's not like boo.
No, but maybe
Not like a pantomime, like, no, don't do that. It's more like, you know,
but maybe
disgusting.
That's probably just how Victor imagines homophobia being. Because he won't at this point have experienced any like homophobic abuse directed towards him.
How he imagines homophobia to be.
Maybe. He's not
Picture
experienced
what
it.
it could be in different ways before it actually is.
The thing is, it's normally more subtle, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
it's not like someone shouting
gay.
across
In my
the,
experience, it's usually more subtle, or it's far more like
nasty.
Yeah. And this is why I feel like it's a very like Disney-fied story, especially if that was set in England. Like they'd just be throwing shit, like spitting in their face, not being like boo.
But there's no like outward, gay bashing going on, which I think is nice.
It's nice, but it's also not realistic.
I mean, I've not been like beaten up. Well,
I have.
Yeah, no, I have actually.
And it's not necessarily a good thing to always show such like violent and brutal and realistic things like that. But then at the same time, if you're not showing them, are you representing well enough?
What we want to see is Victor being like punched.
Don't want to see
on the dodgems.
No,
I love how close we are, Victor. I hope it hasn't changed us.
I love you, Mom, but I don't want to talk about this right now. I don't think I'll ever want to talk about it.
So, for a bit of context, the mum in this family, well, cheated, basically. Naughty. And the kids found out, Victor included. And then this scene is her, I guess, trying to claw back her relationship with her son. But I think what spoke to us when we watched it was that it's kind of like a mirror of a coming out experience. There's a lot of the same kind of phrases being used, like, oh, I hope, like, we have a great relationship. I hope that nothing's changed between us. And it's kind of like a different take on the same kind of thought processes and like how we want our family to receive some news. And we're not saying that, you know, coming out is equivalent to like cheating on your partner and like breaking up your marriage or whatever, but like it's interesting
conversations that can be sort of translated into different scenarios, and it's another form of kind of slight hypocrisy of like of him not being able to accept her for who she is. And you know what I mean? So you're right, there's no that you can't, you know, compare someone's sexuality to something like cheating, but at the same time what you can compare is accepting someone for who they are and those conversations that we have. And so it's an interesting kind of way in which he's kind of blind to that, and yet there's something that she would have to have the same conversation with him about. And
well, I think it kind of comes back to what we were talking about last week. Like it takes time for people to process everything that's going on. And Victor's saying here, I don't want to ever talk about it, but actually later on in the series they do talk about it after he's had more time to kind of process that information. So I think we need to be really careful in experiences where people are coming out to us not to have these like knee-jerk flinch reactions, just be like, I don't want to talk about that, like that's disgusting, or like I don't want to speak about it, because
absolutely
eventually you will. So I think even if it's like putting in a placeholder there to be like, I'm not sure how I feel about this now, but like it's okay, thank you for telling me, I need some time to process it and we'll come back to it later and chat about it. I think it's a much better way of handling it than being like, I don't want to talk about it.
I agree.
Why are you playing with a fairy wand?
It's my Elsa wand from Frozen.
You let him play with girls' toys?
Yeah, he's a very macho boy.
One of your boys is gonna give me some great-grandchildren.
Neither of them are.
No, let's not make assumptions.
No, let's not. And let us not gender toys.
Yeah.
Ridiculous thing. You can play with whatever you want when you're a child. It does not mean anything.
Victor, who are your friends?
Benji, my coworker, and Derek, his bandmate.
Oh, I prefer the term boyfriend.
No, of course. It's just my grandfather makes a scene. It'll lead to a fight between my parents, and I'm just not sure how much more fighting we can take.
Whatever. Just forget about it.
I bet you guys are cleaning up with the ladies.
Actually, we are...
Too busy. You didn't have to do that.
I don't want to fight anymore, okay?
People just saw your two friends, the guys in the band, kissing.
They're together.
You need to tell them not to do that here. What if your little brother sees them?
I'm not gonna tell them not to be who they are if that bothers you. That's your problem, not theirs and not mine.
It's hard for us, that's all. Everything is changing. This is not the world we grew up in.
Boys kissing boys instead of girls.
Everything that matters to us is disappearing.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there.
There is, but we may have like controversial opinions about this. It's really important to like pick and choose our battles. It really is. And I think sometimes, especially if we're in situations where we've gone in and we've like, you know, they agreed to do at the beginning, I think it's necessary sometimes for us to not necessarily think it is all it is about us. Do you know what I mean? And I think there are some battles that we don't necessarily have to fight all the time. If it makes things easier. As queer people, we've kind of spent all of our life very used to kind of having to go through that act and knowing when to pick and choose our battles. And I think it's okay for us to say sometimes, to be the bigger person, if you like, and say, you know, I will not fight. But that doesn't mean I disagree with speaking up for yourself, because it is, because I'm all about being like, no, stick up for yourself, fight. You know, we shouldn't be repressed, and absolutely like own your pride every single day. Because we should remind people of that. And when the battle is right, speak up, be the first person, and don't be ashamed of who you are. Absolutely, 100%. What I don't like about that, about the boyfriend in particular, is that if you notice, Benji, as much as he's a bit annoyed by it, he agrees to it at the door.
Yeah.
And so what he's done is he's agreed to let this fight go, to have a good time. And his boyfriend has done that, but then gone back on that, and I think it's a little bit disrespectful, and I don't like that. Yes, it's not great to have to do that, but as soon as they leave that place, they can go and continue to be proud and do everything they want outside of that environment. And so I'm very much... And then on the flip side, I'm like, it's totally great to be having these representations of generations, because absolutely, like, his granddad is out of order, and I'm sorry, I think it's very bad to be using, in our generation, in our time, as an excuse ever, because society is all about adapting and coming into the 21st century, and you have to learn from your mistakes. And so it's absolutely great that they hold the grandparents to account there.
This is funny, because I think I disagree with everything you just said.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything?
Everything. Let's get into
Ice!
I see what you're saying. However, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with both of us, but I would say that if you are picking your battles, by definition, you're conceding ground. And surely, in the name of progress, you should be fighting at every opportunity. I'm not saying you need to throw it in their face and go, shag on the sofa. I'm saying that just being who you are in that moment shouldn't be seen as being, contrary or battling. That's just being who you are. The other point you made about old people and having their excuses, it's such a powerful thing, change. And when you're older, change becomes harder and harder. And I think they like really put it in a way that you can empathize with it. If everything's changing around you, and all the values and morals and things that you grew up with and are cemented in your mind when you're young are very hard to shake. So when you're told that gay people are morally wrong and going to hell, it's so challenging to remove those automatic thought processes from your mind. So I think, no, they shouldn't be allowed to continue, with those thoughts and just like do that. Somehow trying to get to that generation in a way that's not just like, look at those gays prancing around in pride on the TV. That's not the way that you're going to engage with that segment of society that's still in that kind of mindset. I think you need a different approach, which perhaps is being yourself at a party.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting that we really disagree on this. I don't know. Both parties are sticking true to their values, and neither one wants to concede in a situation where they're not being themselves.
But only one can continue to exist in a modern society.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the gays.
Yeah, totally. If I would have a final point, I think as much as you want to progress, we need to know how to do it the right way. But in my mind, that is also, we need to know when is more important.
So picking the battles appropriately.
I think picking your battles appropriately
wins the war. But if you go in too hard all the time, it's going to put people off.
You have to find a medium where you stick by this is right and this is wrong and educate people, but at the same time know that it's more important to fight your battles at Pride when there is actual homophobic bullying going on than fight your battles at your best friend's party with your grandparent, where his grandparents are there and they may never affect your life again. You know what I mean?
No,
I don't know.
But then they go to bridge club together and talk,
yeah,
and then convert all of their elders to it's really hard. There's no good answer.
It's so hard. But it's what we do this for. You can't say, old people don't understand, but actually you know, there's an old couple down the road and they're gay and they clearly do understand. And it's like, how do you think they feel if they have to go and hang around with their generation and all their generation gives an excuses? Oh, it's okay because it's their generation. And like, no.
We went through the kind of phases where essentially your peers are homophobic, even if it's not like aggressively, it still is because that's what happened. And maybe they're still there, stuck in that phase where their peers are homophobic.
And that's a horrible thing to think about. Like, how unfortunate that the entire generation that you grew up with never got out of the trail of thought that you were wrong. Let us know your thoughts.
God, that's a hard one.
Hey, is everything okay? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Benji. Victor, wait. I can't keep denying this.
This is a bad choice. I think that's very clear. You get desperate, I think.
Hmm.
You desperately want to know, don't you? And like kissing someone is like one very good way of figuring out quite quickly whether you're into it or not.
What I admire about Victor in that scene is that he's not afraid to do it. He just does it.
I really think he's terrified to do it.
Oh yeah, he's terrified, but
he doesn't like give into that terror.
But he doesn't give into the terror, and I think that is an admirable thing for a lot of young LGBTQ plus people. Is that
you've got to jump in at the deep end.
We do.
Point. You've got to do it.
And that's actually it's an important thing to know, is that we always do that. We have always done that. We have just that's what we have to do. We have to take those steps, and we have to kiss that boy, we have to kiss that girl.
Take the leap of faith.
And it's an admirable thing that we do that, because...
Yeah, let's give ourselves a pat on the back for being brave.
Yeah, because as a straight person, you don't necessarily have to do that. I mean, you learn what a kiss is, and that's a great thing, but it's not I wouldn't say it's necessarily a terrifying thing, and I invite any straight person to kind of maybe have this conversation with me. Is it a terrifying thing for you as much as it's a terrifying thing for us when we are having our first kiss with someone that we are told that this is wrong, or, you know, it's not necessarily the right thing to be doing? It's a, Thoughts, people?
I'm Ivy.
I'm Kim. And before you ask, my pronouns are they, them, theirs.
Oh, okay.
College counselor hooked you up with the wrong ass people, girl.
I'm not a girl.
Don't mind him.
I get it, and I'm sorry. I forgot how scary it is when you're first coming out, even around other gay people.
Jason was in the NBA. First openly gay player.
He's gay?
They all are. It's a gay league. I just wanted you to see that there's no one way to be gay. You can be femme, you can be butch, athletic, but the one thing you can't be is afraid.
Everyone here is gay.
Oh, yeah.
Even Darius?
Yeah.
He's like 6'8".
Oh, you should see him in heels.
Why do so many gay people like dressing up in drag? Is it like fun to be a character?
This was me 3 years ago. And walk around the neighborhood and try to convince people to join a religion that I knew wanted nothing to do with me. That was putting on a character. That was drag.
My parents are religious too. I really worry how they'll react if I ever tell them.
Hey, man. Hey. I thought that what I told you stayed between us, but now I realize this whole time you've been sitting around with your friends, laughing.
I know you want me to be this, like, guru who has all the answers, but the truth is I don't. I never had a girlfriend. Bram did. I didn't have super religious parents, but Justin did. Every one of my friends had a little bit to offer.
Why would they want to help a complete stranger?
Because you're not a stranger. You're one of us. To me, that's the best part about all of this. Having a community.
How's your night going, Victor?
It's been the best night of my life.
This is the best episode of the series.
So for me, this is the episode that like makes the series. I love that they've just kind of like dedicated this episode to honestly just being educational and giving a very sort of like matter of fact kind of learning lesson to anyone watching, not just to Victor, but to anyone watching that, whether you are LGBT or you are straight. Like you're understanding sort of basic things, and it's such a beautiful and kind of very clear way of doing it, and I think it's exactly what Love, Simon needed to have happened, but didn't do. And you often don't see it spelled out as obvious as that in a lot of other drama, but I think that's done
There's
so
no
beautifully.
one way to be gay.
Absolutely, there's no one way to be gay. You can be whatever you want there, and the idea that there is a community of like everyone being able to help, like they're beautiful messages. I felt so happy to see that on TV.
I think also you feel that kind of that bond, that connection to what they're saying, because I think what they're saying is true. You do have that community and you do support each other, and it is like, it's really touching to have that on screen, because you do feel that connection with other people, and that is how it is. I mean,
and those conversations are the conversations that me and you will have on a daily basis, or other queer groups will have between their friends, but they're so often not kind of just really represented and spoken about in media. When you stop watching this program, you will go away thinking there are people like that somewhere living in New York, living across the world, and that's what that's how they're living their life, and it's a beautiful thing.
When he was like talking about his relationship with religion and his family, and then Victor also comes through the same kind of story, like, I'm afraid I don't know how that's gonna play out with my parents. I like that the other characters didn't try and say, oh, it'll be okay, or like, oh, it'll definitely go this way, or it'll definitely go another way. There's no way of knowing in these situations, so all you can do is just be there to support each other, and that's why they hug.
Absolutely, you can never predict. I think that's one of the biggest kind of faux pas that we always do with
in the DMCs. You don't want to you can't
tell
definite advice
how things are going to happen and what to expect, because there really isn't. There is no way. Everyone will have a different experience. We often try and put our own 2 pence in and say you're going to be fine, but actually it's like, no, I don't need you to tell me that, because it might not be fine. I just need you to be
there whatever the consequences.
I got you back. I love the bit as well where he's like, I'm not a girl.
Hey girl, I'm not a girl.
I'm not a girl. It's so I don't know about you, because this is quite a good point to make, but
pronouns get interesting, don't they? Some
well,
people really don't like
I'm not just kind of focused on the pronoun. Obviously, there's a very important part there about pronouns, but I'm kind of just talking about the way in which we assimilate into gay culture and we learn these things. And I think we were all actually at the beginning kind of like Victor, where we're like, oh, don't do it. Oh, he's calling me a girl, and that person,
And now we're like,
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like, oh, do you know what? There is a sense of, it is quite a lot when you yourself are having to come, learn all these things, and then
it's just
and then I compare it now, and I'm like, me, that's something I would do, and you be like, girl, but it's so
it is a bit of a cultural barrier, isn't it?
Yeah,
it doesn't take very long for people
just
to
doesn't.
get into it.
It doesn't at all. But I have to. It kind of makes me think what I would have been like when I was his age, kind of learning.
I broke up with him. Someone who makes me feel like I can just be myself. That's how you make me feel, Victor. That's how you make me feel too. Wow. I've been out for a while now, and you? I mean, have you even said the words out loud yet? I'm gay. I'm ready.
Love that.
I mean, I guess they needed to have the drama bit. I knew she was going to walk out. That's the moment where you need a do. What I do like about that, actually, is the conversation that briefly follows the first kiss, or second kiss, in which he talks about, have you even come out yet? Have you entered the words? This is a really good point, because often, if it was Love, Simon, whatever, they would kiss, and that's it, the end. You know what I mean? It's great.
Yeah.
And I think often we do forget that kind of other added layer, is that it's really important to remember that if you're, with someone romantically, that they too are going at their own pace, and how you kind of work around that and communicate that is really important. And I think it was absolutely great that he kind of paused and went, okay, let's have a conversation quickly. How are we going to do this? You're not even out yet.
It's such a problem, and it's something that you have to deal with. Really, is he comfortable? Is he going to be on the same level as me? Do his parents know that he's dating someone? Like, is it going to be possible for me to be me in a relationship with that person?
My first boyfriend,
at their current stage.
My first boyfriend was out, and I wasn't. And I think back to that now, and it's an interesting way because you're like, oh, that person actually compromised quite a lot. And that's very nice of him to do that. Other people wouldn't do that, and and there were conversations that were had sort of like on a regular basis about that. So, and it doesn't mean that, you know, our relationships can't happen. It's just it's different territory to navigate, and being, you know,
well, it's totally unique to LGBT people.
Absolutely.
First of all, there's finding someone. Second of all, it's finding someone who's basically at the same stage in their like coming out journey as you. Or if you haven't, then you, again, like you said, you've got to make compromises or behave differently. And it's so hard.
And I think as young people in particular, it's like a
bloody minefield.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fine, Felix. I get it. You're in love with her.
Go, Felix! Oh! I ship them so hard. Those sort of younger teen films. Often, the main characters we would follow would be straight people in their relationship. And then on the sub characters, the side characters to those would have these little like interactions, and it would be usually like two guys or two girls, like two gay people getting together, and they would be the cute little
like,
love story. Yeah, and you'd be like, oh. And I think it's so refreshing and nice to have the sub characters be straight people, and we're going, oh, that's so cute that they're getting together too, and they're having the
and we're invested in them too.
And we were invested in them because when they got together, I was like, ah!
Wait, Victor, what were you gonna tell us?
Nothing. No. Not nothing. Mom, Dad, I'm gay.
Da 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 da.
A little bit of goosebumpy there, actually.
I really like that. It's such a good way to end it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And what's interesting about this is that the next entire series will kind of be a different LGBT story.
That was Love Victor.
Love Victor!
Victor. I really, really enjoyed that series.
Really enjoy it, I know.
I really enjoyed that series.
I think that series is a good series.
Is it top tier?
No.
But it's not bottom tier.
But it's not bottom tier. I would say it's mid tier. But what I would say is that episode 8 and those scenes in New York alone are like top tier.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, if I took those scenes, but those are top tier.
Yeah.
Those are fantastic scenes that I would be like, if anyone was kind of coming to me and being like, everyone, like, you know, kind of get a perspective in media about the LGBT, you know, representation, I'd be like, watch this episode.
Yeah, that's fair. Let us know what you think.
Yes, let us know, comment, send your love, and let us know what else you'd like us to do. I don't think we have anything else in mind.
I've seen...
Well, no, that's a lie. We have so much.
I've seen... I don't think there was anything else.
Actually. No, I literally have a list of like 70 odd shows and films, but...
I've seen Moonlight being mentioned. Do something, Carol?
Yeah, well, I want to do like other LGBT stories that have people that aren't men. I'd love to do Carol. Love that film.
I've seen people do polls, and
we could
you
do
guys
a poll.
can choose what we do next.
And then we could do a pole dance like Lil Nas X.
Straight to hell.
Anyway, love.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.